players, knowing players like Karsa, like Rookie, who have been shown to have a bit of fun games in the past. I believe it was 2020 summer where they were already locked into playoffs. Rookie pulled out the Zed, things along those lines, but they're keeping it very stock and standard. I think with playoffs so close, just wanting all the bit of serious practice you could get. Now anyone's Legend locking in the Aphelios on the opposite side. Ryze still being open is something that stands out to me. Forge typically going away from a lot of the meta picks. I feel like Ryze is really the only one that he feels comfortable to lean on.
Yeah, he's been someone who's actually done a lot of work with his champion as well, and I feel like Forge has improved quite a lot over this split. Kind of excited to see what it's matched, though, by Rookie, because we talked a lot about the laning stats. The early game here from Victory 5. Karsa returning to an old faithful, which the Hecarim has just been so strong. Photic on that note as well gets the Jinx, and you can see the trend that V5 are now setting. Let's see if they match a Ryze here or go towards a support for ppgod.
Yeah, I'm very curious. Also, just want to highlight it on the Hecarim because this is something that is banned out against V5 pretty much every series. Going to get his hand on this, very comfortable. We even saw things like the Gwen that are left open, but no, does just want to answer the Ryze pick with the Syndra. This is something that does incredibly well in the laning phase. It sets up for the early game skirmishing and the early 2v2 that V5 loves to play around. And for V5, I don't feel like Karsa plays around either side lane very heavily. All of it does go to putting jungle attention around mid for Rookie.
Oh, I mean, it's important to note as well, strong 2v2 has been such a big, powerful direction here for Victory 5. We get the Graves on the other side, though, so we know that's going to be in the top lane. I was casting a bit of PCS to round out the split as well. They're playing it in the jungle, but I know in LPL, we're few and far between from seeing Graves back in that role.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see what anyone's Legend want to take away to make this Graves comfortable. Obviously, things come to mind like the Tryndamere. You could also take away the Gwen, even though it is a bit of a 50-50. It's a little bit of a neutral matchup.
That's kind of weird.
Completely through pick and ban so far. But for anyone's Legend, they are just going to target out some of these annoying supports. Tom Kench obviously rying to prevalence here in the LPL. Thresh already off the board. So it could just set up for the generic Leona Nautilus trade that we expect to see. But again, I feel like everything really comes to this with V5's bans. If they want to take away, you know, maybe some of the higher priority junglers on the opposite side, the Lee Sins, the Xin Zhao still being left open for Xiaohao.
But it's interesting to me that they go straight towards the top lane, thinking that, okay, this could be Xiaohao taking Graves into the jungle.
Yeah, and it would be something that can work, right? We have seen a little bit of jungle Graves split. Certain players are willing to bring it out. Wouldn't really set up to be able to match the 2v2 that V5 have picked up in mid-jungle. But I feel like as the split has went on, we've kind of transitioned for anyone's Legend, where early on it was Betty and Chocho, I think the big standouts for the side of AL. As we've gone later, I really feel like it's Xiaohao who's once again stepped up and looked like he did last split.
And again, kind of imitating the shadow of Haro, who was on this roster before when it was Rogue Warriors. I see similarities in this junglers. They're aggressive, they're bloodthirsty. Huh? Sorry, Ice Coke. Well, look, let's be honest, he didn't last too long. We saw it for a little bit, but before that, Haro, of course. There were aggressive junglers, and I'd love to see it. So I guess V5 are saying, hey, we know that Xiaohao's probably going to be taking this Graves into jungle, getting away some of those topside selections. Gwen's still left open, though, something you've raised before. Gwen's
still being left open. Again, you could also just go to supports here. If this Graves is a flex, I'd actually be very surprised that they are just going to pick their top lane here and obviously hovering the Gnar now, because then you're showing, hey, this... You know, it's defeating the point of it being a flex. So I think going towards the Nautilus here makes a lot more sense. You hold on to that Graves pick if that's what V5 thinks. V5 you expect for the Leona to come out for their side. And then the Gwen. I mean, there's no way you don't go for the Gwen with it still being open.
It's so easy, right? So we get Gwen. We get a strong 2v2. We get the Jinx priority for V5. Feels like a very simple draft that anyone who's sitting on 12.4 would be saying, that looks pretty good.
And ppgod also, instead of going towards that Leona, instead opting into the Alistar. I mean, a lot of short range on the opposite side. You have good disengage tools. You're able to find the all-ins as well. And now for AL, it's going to be all about rounding it out. And it looks like they are going to hold true to what you're saying. With V5 banning out those top laners, it was Xiaohao just wanting to bring out that Graves. You're going to go with the Gnar matchup. This is something where we've seen a lot of people, you know, thinking of it as a counter. But I feel like in LPL, we've seen Gwen just get pressure from level 1, be able to win out the matchup. The only times I've seen Gnar win is if Gwen just completely misses everything. Maybe you have a full stacked Q, it misses, Gnar finds the all-in, some of your needlework doesn't hit, and it's like, is that really much of a counter? I'm not sure. ZDZ will have to show us.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's such a large discussion. I know you and Orcs in the gaming house, we're going to call it. We're having a pretty in-depth one about this, but as we stand here in front of you guys together, we're pretty excited to get into this one. Even though for V5, they're holding their spot at first, for anyone's Legend, a similar kind of trend. They can go up, they can go down, but they can't make it into playoffs. But it is more about seeing what they're going to bring going into summer and see how this roster's come together, because it's been a bit of a surprise. I think a lot of fans expected, and including me, that Anyone's Legend was going to be 16th, 17th in the league. They surprised us. They did pretty well, and honestly, almost had a run at playoffs later in the split.
And they've kept that true with Rogue Warriors, right? Because Rogue Warriors were always the team. It'd come close to playoffs. They'd start making a bit of a run. They would make you believe. And then, sadly, you kind of always fall short at the end.
Sure.
I do feel like this is one of the most, I'd say, stable orientations of like this roster we've seen, even if they didn't make playoffs. Like, they had strong points again. Betty looked better. QiuQiu looked better. Xiaohao came online later in the split. Forge, who I thought, honestly, was by far the worst mid laner in LPL before, I feel like has actually had some decent performances this time around. So, still not a playoff caliber roster, but at least they have pieces that can grow going into Summer Split.
That's right. And again, like, Forge is surprised when Maple's sitting behind him, right? Remember, he's still on this roster.
It's so easy to forget. It's so easy to forget.
Over Maple, especially when Betty's playing, you feel like, oh, the other piece of the puzzle missing from old Flash Wolves. But either way, Forge doing well. Let's see if he can survive Rookie's onslaught, though, because Victory 5 are the best team in the LPL. I said that Rookie was the best mid laner in the world, which upset some people from many different regions, but it definitely feels like it when you watch this region.
I was going to say, like, in the last hit, I gave my MVP, my all-star mid lane to Xiaohao. A lot of people got upset that I didn't give it to Rookie, which I think is fair. I think right now, right, Xiaohao, Rookie, Knight, there's so many of these stacked mid laners who are pretty much single-handedly carrying games for their teams. And now getting Rookie on the Syndra, something that can be lane dominant, something that has a lot of skill expression and, you know, hitting your Qs, hitting the scatter of the week. This will be Rookie's time to shine, and looks like both teams expecting a bit of a cheeky level 1.
Yeah, there's a bit of a numbers advantage here from V5. Look at where Xiaohao is. ZDZ in the top side as well. Rich just going for the trade here on the Gwen. And this is something you talked about a little bit as well. So it feels like I want to look here at V5 and talk a little bit about what you're mentioning in the draft. But we are going to get the invade. So Lyric, hold the phone. Ward goes down. And nothing going to happen. Just the vision put down. Oh, let's come back
to the phone. Give me the phone, Hysterics.
The phone says, what are V5 looking for here? Because you talked a lot about the skirmishing, and I mentioned the mid 2v2. Is it as simple as building up on Rookie?
Oh, I think 100%. Especially knowing how V5 play, I expect V5 to be able to have pressure in both their mid and top lane matchups. Gwen is able to get pressure through the threat of those all-ins against Gnar early on. Syndra, of course, will have pressure up against the Ryze on the upside, even taking Aerie, so playing a lot more for those 2v2s.
That's aggressive.
That QiuQiu looking for it.
Yeah, he has Dredge Line available, but QiuQiu going to throw it out. ppgod blocking his path again, and Photic building up lethal tempo. Look at the damage onto Betty. Half HP, we end there. It's just bot.
This is one of the things that's kind of disappointing, right? Because I think AL have the right idea. Alistar, not a champion at level 1. It's spoken about many times. We need to pause on that point as well. Xiaohao going to come in for a gank.
Well, Rookie wants to make it bloodthirsty. The catch-up game's looking spicy already as he walks into the jungler. He's a bit blind. End-of-line dodge, though, as a quick draw against Scatter the Weak. Nice. No summoners burn, but Rookie still surviving. Still
really nice by Rookie to not panic, not try and build a flash early on, knowing that he has the tools to outplay it. Going back to that bottom side, I mean, you know Alistar not having access to all-in at level 1, so that's when you want to punish him. But Jinx just being able to switch to Fishbones, back off, pull out the rockets. And that's why I'm really excited to get to 12.5B.
I know. You know, we got a lot of changes to talk about then. Come back to win cons for me a little bit, because you're starting on the road of V5. We didn't really talk about Anyone's Legend and what they want to do here. Forge already moving down, trying to get some roams through.
We're not going to get time to talk about any win cons.
Well, you're going to have to hold it there, because I'm still going to ask you. The dive under ZDZ's turret. Gwen versus Gnar, not influenced in the 1v1. The flash away is nice. Karsa holding the turret, and he survives. TP is a response, and Forge comes in to save the day.
I love that V5 didn't full-on commit to that play, that they had Karsa holding aggro, that they're able to back off, and that they're able to build even more of an advantage for Rookie in that mid lane. He's going to be able to deny so much CS against Forge, and now we see Anyone's Legend trying to pivot to the bottom side. This is where Xiaohao is playing around, but my God, Karsa.
Setting up camp.
Still wanting to enable Rich. Oh my God, is he going to go? He's not going to go for it. It would be suicide. We have seen Karsa go for that quite a few times. Going for some very interesting plays. Has had some great ones. I do feel like Karsa has had a much better split this time around. Has been a bit shaky the past few weeks. Gonna get a 2v2.
Grabham comes through. I'm wondering, maybe ppgod will die. Ignite's down. Infernum not splashing to him, and the Ignite, as it ticks, is going to end just before his health bar does. So Photic survives, ppgod too, but Xiaohao's coming on down. Not sure about this one. End of the line. Flashy gets it. And just in the nick of time.
And that's one thing you knew would be exciting about this matchup, is that Anyone's Legend do play very aggressively, very much like V5.
Yeah.
And when you have matches like this that have no implications on the standing whatsoever for either team, that's what you want to see. You want to see back and forth, you know, nose to the asphalt. I don't know if that's a saying in League of Legends.
Nose to the asphalt. Yeah. Okay. Water to the chum water. Yeah. Now we're making perfect sense. Rookie smacking down Forge. Hey, you do have time now, by the way. Let's bring it all back. Anyone's Legend, what is this team doing? Like, what are we aiming for? We have good scaling here. We have semi-global here with Ryze mid.
So even though V5 are the ones who I think have the stronger mid-jungle 2v2 in terms of like fighting and skirmishing in the actual 2v2, AL should be looking to, you know, bring Xiaohao mid like they did early on, try and burn rookie summoners because he is on an immobile control mage, and unlock Forge to be able to push the wave, look to roam with that Realm Warp, and you expect him to probably move down towards that bottom side to make some plays, enable Betty, ZDZ already being punished quite heavily. So I think for AL, a little bit of a pick comp in the earlier game can transition into that 5v5 later on. Both teams, I think, very similar in terms of how they holistically want to play out. It's just different in terms of the nuances, right? For AL, we just said move from mid. For V5, I think it's a lot about enabling Rookie to fight mid, to take turret plates, to invade the enemy jungle with that prio.
And he'll also have level 6 soon as well, and Karsa will be getting close to that too, so the burst potential getting more and more insane. Forge almost 6, worth watching that Realm Warp as Chocho helps him push out mid. ppgod doing the same though, as they all converge. Karsa even going through a ward, wants to make the play again. Forge still has the flash available, Chocho as well. And for now, they'll stay safe, not having to burn any of that through this early game.
No, and both teams right now, a lot of posturing around this bottom side, but not Karsa. Look at the mini-map, still playing up around top, especially with Rich having this large advantage in terms of CS.
It's massive.
Yeah, absolutely huge. You can see ZDZ even realizing this, has the call, kind of playing more for a bit of scaling, trying to get some items under his belt, be a massive force in team fights. But I feel like V5 are going to quickly have to transition to covering their bot side, so that doesn't explode for anyone's Legend if Xiaohao just keeps playing heavily for their bottom lane. We'll be able to pick up the dragon off of, you know, knowing that V5 are playing so heavily around top.
And I love the threat. This is why we talked up Xiaohao. I mean, straight at Dirk already picked up. He picked up the first blood too. And this jungler adding a lot of pressure into V5. And while they're covering that, you brought up a point about Rich versus EDZ. This Gnar versus Gwen right now, feeling pretty favored in the Gwen side. You talked a lot about the individual matchup, and again, it shows another place here in the LPL where Gwen's just having a good enough time. And
it's one of those things where, you know, people pick it because there's a ranged top laner, so you can just look to whittle out the Gwen, poke him down. He's the W to dissuade that. You win all in, especially taking the Conqueror, having the more damage coming through. You have enough sustain. We need to pivot down to this bottom side.
It's a bait. I think it's a bait. Anyone's Legend have 3 members. However, Rookie's moving down as well.
Yeah, Karsa knows. So V5, they will be able to take this. Even look at the minimap. Rich is coming as well.
ppgod Hex Flash. Oh, bait it. Okay. Well, with Rich walking down, it's going to quickly be a conversion here from V5. Rookie has 6 as well on the chompers as Chocho. Cast without his ulti, but it runs right in. Level 5 gets burnt down, but the flake from ppgod slams Jam. Thank you, man. It's a double instant lead at Rich, and V5, it's all in the bait.
Yeah, Karsa might, you know, going in a little bit too early, does get picked off, but my God, ppgod and Rich bringing it home for the side of V5. 2-0 now on this Gwen. Goes back, gets the Leeching Leer. It's going to be having an even easier time in this matchup. We'll go into the replay. V5, they knew that this play was coming. Karsa was hovering around the jungle the whole time. Does go in, and Chocho finds a nice bit of engage. But here, you see Betty having to go for the flash. It doesn't stop ppgod from getting the headbutt pulverized. And of course, Rich's ultimate, doing a ton of AoE. All those guys stacked together. It was beautiful.
Oh, God, watching Rookie as well. And that was without Karsa's ulti. Would have been more fuel to add to the fire. So for anyone's Legend, gold lead now not in favor after the bot lane plays. It's V5 with a 1,000 lead over anyone's Legend. And in this early game, we've already got Rookie unlocked, and now Karsa will be too.
And you know, we came into this match saying, I feel like one of my favorite things to highlight about V5 is how they play around, like, invading the enemy jungle, looking for picks, swinging away jungle camps. And anyone's Legend were the one trying to do that. You can't do that against V5.
True.
V5 have written that playbook this split. They do it consistently to drive home their advantages. I think a lot more than most teams where, you know, typically find an advantage. I think a lot of teams feel comfortable kind of waiting for neutrals to spawn to try and force team fights.
Yep.
V5 are not one to do that. And anyone's Legend kind of trying to bring the fight to them, not exactly working out. They do still have Xiaohao, who's pretty strong. Serrated Dirk, 2 longswords, probably making his way towards that Eclipse, where he will be able to skirmish. You do have setup, especially in mid and bot with CC. If, you know, Ryze can find the route, Syndra can just be bursted out quite easily. And
especially with Forge's ulti, we've got to see it here. That's been up for a little while. Forge starting to move down and hover with Xiaohao, and you see that the V5 are pinging it away too. That's the roam. While Herald starts going down, let's see if they can pull it off.
And this is the different dynamic that we were talking about, right? Is AL, they're committing.
All right, into the back, into the turret. Wait, Xiaohao flashes away. Collateral damage, bit of an outplay. The jungler goes too deep. That Realm Warp was ambitious to say the least. And Rookie with an amazing flash from the dredge line. V5 outclassing anyone's legend. The second time they're in their jungle where they do not belong. Forge ready to give over a third. This game feels absolutely dangerous now from here on.
And we see that V5 didn't actually have any wards towards the bottom side to know this play was coming, but it's very obvious. V5 are taking the Rift Herald. They know that Forge is playing aggressively in mid to get pushed, which must mean Xiaohao is there, and they know that that's the Realm Warp plan, right? If us, as small brain casters know that this is what's going to happen, them as players, especially players like Rookie and Karsa, know that this is what they're looking for. V5 have the setup perfectly, and they capitalize.
Hey, remember how bot was even as well? Not anymore. There's a triple kill over to Photic, and let's just see this nice play from ppgod on the Alistar.
Yeah, this Realm Warp positioning was not really it. No. Photic throwing out the ultimate doesn't do anything, but this is where everything goes wrong. Rookie comes through, hits the scout of the week, does have to flash the dredge line from QiuQiu, but it sets up for them to look for the turn. Throws out the Flame Chompers. There's nowhere to go for the other members of AL, and V5 just clean it up.
They do, and after the back as well, Photic was able to pick up a Kraken Slayer after that. So we have first item here on the Jinx. Before anyone else on the map, before that Eclipse, which is a relatively cheaper item from Xiaohao, and it just feels like now anyone's legend have to deal with so much. And it's weird, it hasn't been about the mid 2v2 from V5 in this early game, it's been about every other lane.
Yeah, and I think that goes a lot to, again, I feel like Karsa this split hasn't played too heavily around like ganking for his lanes. He plays around the pressure that his lanes are able to generate quite well, as we saw. How ppgod did have to burn that flash, especially as Karsa on the Hecarim, right? Typically wanting to get to that onslaught of shadows before you're able to have like a huge impact on the map. So now at that point, right, level 7, we can start to see him make more plays. The big thing I want to go back to is the fact that V5 not only went out that play on the bot side, but as you hit on, they were taking Herald top. So they pretty much won out on both sides of the map. And now Karsa going to be able to look to put this one down. I would assume you're going to look to put it down towards mid, enable Rookie more. V5's bot lane has push, so you can very easily make this 4-man play towards mid, drop the Rift Herald. Looks like they're thinking about starting up Dragon now and just take everything away from anyone's legend on the bottom side of the map.
But every time they move again, like reaching the top side, someone we keep coming back to is just continuing to push away. Teleport boom by ZDZ as well. So it feels like anyone's legend have to give this up now, especially, and as V5 continue pushing in, it's just more gold going down. 20 CS lead in the mid lane, 20 CS up on the top side. Bot as well even. Dragon going to be taken here equally.
I also want to highlight that ZDZ just got his back off, comes back to lane with a hull breaker.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, this one feels like a hull breaker to not get abused as hard as you were. Not really want to enable him taking turrets and pushing in and finding pressure because he just has been abused. So this extra resistance is going to come in handy to make sure he doesn't go down.
It's going to be a 3v2 in the bottom lane, though. Let's pause there. Grabbing him onto Photic. He gets ignited down, but it depends on if he can kite back the flash burn. ppgod burns the ulti too. Zap. And a bit of a dredge line. A knock-up, though, and Karsa going to bring it in now for Photic. Damage needs to come through. He's already sent out the ulti. The fear from Karsa. Absolutely gorgeous. And with a double going down, 2 more for V5 versus 1. Trades keep going in their favor. And it's not just the bottom lane once again.
Yeah, right. This is why V5 are such a strong team this split, because they're able to generate so much solo pressure.
Under turret, true damage comes through. ZDZ not going to be hit by the final one. Wouldn't kill him, but at the very least, Rich establishing control. Realm Warp to get out of the map faster. Anyone's legend just want to be somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, AL just trying to get back on the map sooner, too, try and stop this Rift Herald push coming out from V5. They do drop it mid, like we expected. Looks like they should be able to get away. Forge.
Very aggressive. This is what we wanted to see. Xiaohao going over the wall as well. Anyone's legend. Nice little attempt play when they're so far behind. Still trying to bring tempo to this early game.
And right, that's what it's going to come down to for anyone's legend at this point, is trying to find these cheeky little plays, because let's be real. Now, you have no pressure in any lane. Like, top can't push, mid can't push, bot side can't push. It's going to be very hard for Xiaohao to do anything other than farm his own jungle. So you're going to have to look to just make plays in some of these side lanes when V5 are showing first. We're going to see here how this bot side skirmish comes out. The ult from QiuQiu onto Photic sets up the Moonlight Vigil, where he is able to get the lockdown with the Gravitum, and then ppgod trying to keep the members at bay to not get on top of Photic leads to him going down. But Karsa has the Ghost, has the E, is able to get in onto these members of anyone's legend. Of course, the Onslaught of Shadows sets up for the fear onto, I believe it was Xiaohao. And then QiuQiu comes out of the stopwatch and quickly goes down.
We had a highlight in the bottom lane, just watching ppgod through that, always on the same page with Photic. blocking away for collateral damage, standing in front. There's such a good duo in the league.
It really surprises me because, you know, coming up to playoffs, I've been like spamming a ton of V5 VODs these past few days, and they're so good at coordinating a lot of their engages with their level up timings. Like, ppgod always knows, like, throw out a hook, throw out an anchor a few seconds before Photic's about to hit that last minion. The coordination with CC also incredibly good of, like, a hook comes out into Flame Chompers. Like, these guys are on the same page, and it's really beautiful to see, especially for ppgod, who has had to play with a lot of AD carries that you assume he can't communicate quite well with, playing with aiming, of course playing with Sam D, and then the only AD carry really, Y4, which, you know, I feel like Y4 always more of a facilitator or role player. Like he does his job. He's not meant to be a focal point. So nice to see V5 pair ppgod up with someone who can be a primary carry.
I mean, speaking of pairing, look at this. They were so deep with a bit of a gank as Photic senses something's going on in the bottom lane. A little bit fishy as ppgod's running in. It's a 4 versus 3, but anyone's legend don't know yet. And V5 have one member separated from the pack. The Wolves converge, and QiuQiu, the Fangs have sunk in. It's V5 with another kill, and just while we're talking about praising V5's bottom lane, they again make another gorgeous play. Oh, comes through from Betty, but Rookie steps up to the turret to... Oh my god, Rookie! Just the usual this point. ppgod willing to die for a man that runs under turret versus an army.
Yeah, you know, I mean, hey, Rookie's a world champion. If there's anyone you're willing to die for, it is Rookie in the squad. And Karsa's not done. Karsa still has the ult. He still has the ghost.
He just wants more blood. This is what we expected out of the two, and I'm glad it's delivering. Photic with the execution ulti. Scatter the weak at max range. Rookie again on a tear, and we haven't even been talking about him this game. At 15 minutes, V5 are 11 kills strong, 3,000 gold up, and the map belongs to them.
I mean, and look at the minimap right now, because talking about the map, Rich is even taking away jungle camps from Xiaohao on the opposite side, so they're really trying to bleed them out from gold, deny them resources, and just really starve anyone's legend out from any options to find their way back in this game. We're going to go into the replay. It seems like V5 have a good idea. You can see pings coming out onto these brushes. They find a very easy play onto QiuQiu with the fact that he does get separated with ppgod's knockback. They get the kill. They keep going forward. This is where it gets a little bit surprising. Rookie having the confidence to just walk forward under turret.
Back.
You know, finds the W, is able to go in with the ultimate, and then able to finish him off. And then ppgod trying to make sure Forge can't get in range to finish him off. Because let's remember, Forge does have the phase rush, so can traverse distance pretty quickly, and that's not where it ends for V5. They just keep it going. I believe Photic throws out the ultimate here to be able to get this kill as well. And yeah, this is a V5 special.
There's a V5 special indeed. The early game, absolute blitz here. At least Betty would come back and picked up a turret, but I think V5 also picked up one in the replay.
If the V5 special was, you know, a food order, maybe a breakfast order, what would it be as, you know, the resident chef of the LPL team?
Oh, God, that's a good one. Maybe it's a Wellington. Maybe it's a beef Wellington. It's hard to do, but when you get it right, it's perfection.
It's amazing, yeah.
That's right.
So you're saying V5 have a little bit of class to them. It's not just rough and scrappy like it looks.
It's not. But, you know, like, when you start with the beef Wellington, you need to coat it in salt and pepper, right? And you can be a little bit rough with the meat, rolling it over. Remember, when making the pastry as well, you also put a mushroom duxelle around the beef. And usually that soaks in. So there's a lot of layers to it, and it does look messy at first, but when it comes together, it all looks great.
You know what I'd love? I'd love if we were able to get a duo cast of you and Gordon Ramsay on the LPL.
My God.
You breaking down the plays and asking Gordon, hey, Gordon, hey, bro, what's this like? What do you think?
Well, I think we'd have to stop the swearing first and then ask Gordon to be very nice to me, because he wouldn't be the nicest to me, I'm sure. Hey, I have the weirdest question. Now, I was looking at Rookie's build before. I know I'm bringing us back in the game after I'm getting pretty hungry talking about the Wellington. That was a Void Staff first, very early on. Yeah, so going to come out. I mean, right, Sorkshoe's Void Staff, going to have a ton of burst, probably the highest early game burst you can have. Obviously, not a ton of MR built on the opposing side yet, but still quite a few base levels into our belt, so should still be hitting at a pretty solid rate, especially once we get into the 5v5s where you are having ZDZ come in as that big frontline. QiuQiu as well, going to be absorbing a lot of this damage. And Rookie should be making his way towards that Mythic second, then, you know, getting the Mythic passive as well from what you'd expect to be the Ludin, so getting even more Magic Pen under his belt. Even 10 stacks on the Dark Seal already. Waiting for that Magize to come through. And meanwhile, the camera's back on Rich. Hello, ZDZ. Ulti's coming through. Rich wants this again, even going into Mega Gnar. All the needlework flies through, but Rich not against the wall. The flash away from the final part of the ultimate. While we pan the camera up, And the action continues here. V5 might only be 3,000 gold ahead, but in every single lane, every time we scan across, it is always V5 finding an advantage.
And, you know, even though V5, I think, are very dominant, I don't want to, like, oversell V5 as this, like, indomitable team that can't lose, because I still also believe V5 are a very messy team. V5 are a very greedy team who push their limits sometimes a little too far and give overkills to the opposing side. So for V5, again, I feel like they're the best team in the league at pushing an advantage forward.
Yep.
But sometimes that does lead to, you know, maybe getting too much. We've seen them, like, dive inhibitor turrets. You know, they have been a team who has been willing to flip Barons at certain times.
Yeah.
So can open up for possibilities for AL to find a comeback. They are only 3K gold behind. You have an Aphelios. Like, sure, there's pretty decent scaling on the opposite side as well with the Gwen and the Jinx. But one great Moonlight Vigil, you know, if V5 are grouped up, can just change the game.
And also, you know, you talked a lot about how when we get towards fighting and everything for these compositions, there are some similarities coming across. As well, like, we're relying on things like Forge for repositioning, ZDZ for ultimate as well. There are some big ultimates for anyone's Legend that can also change the face, and we haven't really seen Forge or ZDZ in a grouped up situation, or a situation where they can use the Realm Walk to reposition. Yeah,
I think they definitely prefer to play side, just with the fact that they have the Ryze against the Syndra. 4v5, if you want to have Rookie push out like this aggressively, you're going to need constant hovers coming out from Karsa, so it's good that V5 are doing this.
Yeah.
Because when you look at how a 5v5 would go, the problem for AL is they're very short-ranged up against a Jinx and a Syndra. No one really be able to find ways to get in to do damage to the backline.
And so they wait for a pick instead. Look at Forge. Backline it is. Everfrost and ulti. They find Karsa, but the TP comes through. Rich is now in a choke. Scatter the weak onto Chocho. Rookie dealing with the backside. And ZDZ able to get nothing off with the ulti. Betty flashes away. Even with the jungler down, it's a 1-for-1 trade. But it's only support down for anyone's Legend as they hover again.
And this is what we talk about V5, you know, sometimes kind of like, since they're always pushing for an advantage.
Like this. Scatter the weak, though, does so much damage. Rookie flushes away. Collateral damage blocked by ppgod. And you know what? Even though ZDZ is going to dodge away from the Super Mega Death Rocket, V5 once again pushing an advantage.
Yeah, and right, since they're always pushing for these advantages, since they're always fishing for kills, it does open up opportunities like that. But they're strong enough at this point in time in the game to where they are able to consistently answer them back.
Yeah.
That whole time as well, Rich pushing on the top side, able to guarantee himself a turret. V5 going to be able to pick up this one as well. They are just straight up chilling right now. Dragon coming up in 1 minute should be another objective over to V5. Sadly, it's not necessarily the one that anyone's Legend have to go and, you know, commit, what's it called, Senpuku, whatever the Japanese samurai. Yeah, there we go. They don't have to do that yet.
Oh my God.
They don't have to do that yet. They can wait for the next dragon to look to do that. But I think that's what I'd like AL to do. Farm it out the next 5 minutes. Say, hey, they get to be on soul point. They're ahead of us. Finding any kind of fight right now could be hard. But actually, AL are kind of setting up like they want to be able to contest that dragon.
I mean, ZDZ might be feeling confident. He's picked up the Trinity Force. We now have a Collector on Xiaohao as well. So there is actually an item advantage through jungle. I'm looking at mid. The Thimble Winter is fully stacked versus Rookie, who's still sitting on 10 Darksteel stacks, but he has a stopwatch now. And as I look across the rest of the items, a Photic is the one at advantage in the bottom lane. So the fact that anyone's Legend is still close kind of ramps me up a little bit. Despite the 5k gold lead, despite anyone's Legend losing fights here and there, it still feels close enough where...
Oh, Rift Herald.
Even if you don't fight for Dragon, yeah, the play around Baron, at the very least, is anyone's Legend dropping some vision.
Yeah, so 4v5, they are going to get the Dragon contested, so anyone's Legend, do agree. Yep. It's like, hey, it's not time to fight right now. We don't need to gamble the game going here. They are just going to get more gold on the Forge, allowing him to push out that wave. We see them picking up some jungle camps, but V5 have been very good at denying anyone's Legend access to that gold. So not too much picked up for AL, but not only are you, let's say, getting more gold, getting more experience for the next fight, you're also giving more time, which opens up V5 to make more mistakes. So for anyone's Legend, it makes sense, but it will all come to a head in 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah, or at the very least, unless something happens around Baron, because for anyone's Legend, they control vision for now. It's pretty blind for Victory 5, but you can see Rookie's up on the top side, ppgod roaming with him. Rich down on the bottom lane, and, you know, just coming back to something, I guess, unrelated to what I was about to mention. V5, I've noticed his team, pretty good side lane control right now. You talk about Karsa hovering. A lot of teams in the LPL struggling to monitor as Chocho, I'm going to say the same thing. He looks for the blast cone, but he's going to be knocked in with a flash away. Summoner down, V5 not over pushing, which is nice to see.
Yeah, and I mean, even just getting that summoner from Chocho, right? Now, Chocho can't find a play where maybe someone like Rookie or Photic overextends. You look for the flash Q and you pick them off. So, really critical summoner is V5 just going to go ahead and start up this Baron. They're even fine with anyone's Legend knowing, as you see, that they didn't start to clear the control ward until later. Because either way, right, you either burn the Baron like you're doing now, or you find it an advantageous fight because you have great turn potential.
I mean, they're going to walk into Rookie, right? He's on the wing, and as Baron goes down, a little bit of a slow smite, but it doesn't matter. V5 now turn for it, and Forge runs into the enemy flank. That ult not even used, and Rookie dealing with two people at once. The ult comes through. ZDZ a low health bar as Rich is doing the rest. Look at the ult he silenced through. Every member of V5 wants a highlight reel, and it's Karsa's turn to be on the board. Run him over as ppgod steals it from under his thumb. And Victory 5 still towards playoffs, looking so damn good.
And with these death timers, with the fact that they have the Baron push, I wouldn't be surprised if V5 can just look for the end here.
This was slick. This was such a good game to watch. You know, coming into today, we're like, well, V5 already secured first. Anyone's Legend can move up and down. What does this series mean to us? Well, it's a little onslaught towards playoffs. V5 aren't going to end here. But at the very least, we're seeing that this team, the best team in the LPL, despite a hiccup a couple of minutes ago, are still looking so damn good in the early game.
Also, let's be real. Every year, every split, our top teams have hiccups. Yep. I believe every year going into Worlds, like teams like Damwon do look stronger coming out domestically because LPL teams do look so messy. It isn't until they're able to go into the competition.
Okay, Rookie's dead. There goes the stacks of the Dark Seal.
I do got to say, though, going back to that point.
What were you saying?
You know, if we get to see, you know, Rookie versus Faker, Rookie versus Showmaker, Rookie versus whoever, Rookie versus Chovy, I don't care. I just hope we get to see it this year, considering, you know, the past 2 years not getting Rookie on the international stage. V5 so far looking quite poised to do so, at least for MSI. We're going to get to see how the man himself, who I'm praising, gets picked off.
Yeah, forward with the ulti. Nice stuff. And a teleport committed as well. But, hey, anyone's Legend just had their face swapped open.
You also look at the minimap, right? Everyone else on the side of V5 had reset. He was trying to push out that wave. Yep. That's kind of the overstays we were hitting on.
Ulti hits. Nice Everfrost from Forge to get away, but almost dies. Rookie, Rich, having a great time. Ulti so close. Oh, that's admirable here from Photic. But look at what's happening on the other side of the map while Forge almost dies.
Yeah, Forge almost going down, but V5 still having the Baron. They're going to keep the siege up. They should be able to push this one forward. Again, the range advantage that they have is so massive on AL, always able to threaten these Scatter the Weaks. They're going to keep pushing as Rich still just answering in the top side because he is teleport.
God. I mean, the slows as well on top of the range you already mentioned. Look at that. With rapid fire cannon, Photic again tells them to shut up. Anyone's Legend sitting in front of their Nexus turrets. That's all they have left. A good depth charge and dredge line. Forge flashing in, but Rookie's away, Photic's away, and everybody's off to the races. Victory 5 running forward in 27 minutes. Anyone's Legend were toast going into the toaster. In fact, they were bread. Now they're toast coming out. Don't get confused. It's bread, then it's toast. It's game 1, and then maybe game 2 for V5. Not sure what I'm saying, but I'm in Ireland. And it's weird that it's 8 o'clock in the morning.
I was going to say,
9 o'clock.
And with this game, right, just a complete slaughter coming out from V5. And this is what you can come to expect from V5. V5, I think, are one of the most reliable top teams we have in the LPL. With beating teams that are below them, with beating some of these weaker teams. They show that once again today. I think this game was really defined just by the laning strength of all 3 lanes. Karsa not even having to make a huge impact on the game because Rookie, we saw zoning Forge out behind his tier 1. The bottom lane was doing so well the whole time, able to play out through the skirmishes with a bit of help from Karsa. And then, I mean, Rich. We saw what Rich was doing after the little bit of help he got from Karsa. He was dominating by himself the whole time.
Oh, dude, ZDZ had a rough game. And again, we talked about this Gnar matchup, and so many times it doesn't work out. And we can, again, put it towards Karsa, who's having a monster split in the jungle. But Rich has just been that top laner that can take a lead and run with it. He's been pretty consistent, and through the solo lane itself, this guy's been picking up solo kills as obvious in this game. That was a Victory 5 game if I've ever seen one. It's really easy to see why this team's first in the league. I don't think anyone's Legend is a bad team this split. I actually think that they're a really good representation of our middle of the pack, maybe bottom of the middle of the pack. But it's just that gap between V5 where when they take leads, they rarely ever drop it.
I also feel like it just comes to, if you look at a lot of V5's games in their drafts, V5 are typically allowed to get away with having prio in multiple of their lanes, even on blue side, right? This was blue side. They had prio in mid, they had prio in top, and even bot we saw, like, sure, I think Benny and Chocho had the right idea of, like, looking for those all-ins at level 1, but Photic just able to turn it with the range that he has with those rockets, and wasn't doing too bad until Xiaohao started just forcing his way down in the bottom side. So I feel like it'd be nice if V5 weren't so consistently able to get these matchups. Like, I get it for AL. Ryze, such a coveted pick right now. You go for that one on first rotation, but V5 aren't a team that are afraid to take these more, let's say, risky champions that a lot of teams aren't willing to go for, just to prio in the early game to be able to slam their advantage home.
I mean, it's great when you have someone like Rookie on your team who we know that, as you've said in previous broadcasts, will stick with a certain champion pool for a split, but also we know he has such an extensive champion pool overall. He's been playing for that long. ppgod as well with his niche pick of the Alistar. There's things like that V5 do so well where they can pivot, they can move in draft, and I think that flexibility, that nice piece of insurance is always a good touch. V5 versus anyone's legend, done in first game in 27 minutes, and I have to say that Victory 5, this is such a good sign coming into playoffs. We won't see them for about a week and a half because they're the first team, but they're in semifinals, they're straight into double elim already. Yep. And this is going to do a lot to show us whether this team can actually make the full run to MSI, make the full run to the grand finals.
And again, they're taking this game seriously despite the fact that we're going to be on a different patch. Like some of these champions aren't, right? Like Jinx being hit. Some of these champions will change, but V5, no. Every bit of time playing League of Legends matters.
Yeah, it does. V5 1-0 in the series, though. Anyone's legend. It all comes down to this, or does it? It doesn't really, but it will soon. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Hysterics. That's Lyric. I could be Lyric to you, but he could never be Hysterics. We're going to go to a break. We'll see you after this. I'm sorry.